tomorrow is a World Day for something that is the leading cause of disability and the second biggest killer after heart disease. It is stroke. Most people have either been directly or indirectly affected by stroke in some way. So I thought that was a good time to get in someone who knows about it, get in two people who know about it, although I wasn't expecting both of them to come in either limping or in a chair, but we can get to that. Ade Djajamihardja and Kate Stevens are sitting in front of me. Ade has written with Kate a book, The Little Book of Hope, and we'll welcome them both and we'll talk a bit more about it. Welcome, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Richard.
Ade, before we talk about you, Kate, why are you on crutches?
I actually partially torn my calf muscle, which is, we look like a real comedy act at home. I'm actually borrowing Ade's second wheelchair, so we're going around together and pretending we're a choo-choo train and having all kinds of fun.
And did you tear your calf muscle because you were kicking him and saying, get a move on?
I think she was just, personally, I think she was just jealous of me getting all the attention.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it out loud, but I'm glad you have,
We're both thinking it.
Yeah, we're both thinking it. Let's go back. When you had two strokes, a small one and then a larger one, when was the small one?
The small one was in 2007.
Okay. And then the big
when
one...
I was 37, sorry, 2006 I was 37. The big one was
a couple of years
July
later.
2012,
Yep.
2011, when I was 42.
Okay.
So it was 5 years in between.
Yes.
And was the cause ever got to? Do we ever know why it occurred?
I can tell you why. Because essentially it was lifestyle created. Having worked in media for the last 25 years, especially overseas, 7-day weeks were working day weeks, 7-day working day weeks was quite the norm, as was 20-hour days.
Yep.
And of course, you fall off the wagon a bit in terms of the lifestyle. I foolishly convinced myself that KFC was actually a food group.
Yes.
And that the best way to approach a balanced meal is to have a Diet Coke with my pizza.
Yeah,
and
nice.
what about the fresh air, Ade?
Oh, and sorry, that was, I fixed my fresh air problem by making sure I had 4 packets of cigarettes a day. 4 packets a day. 4 pack a day, man.
So all of these things, these are these habits that we build up and we're chasing, we've got objectives, we've got things.
Yes.
And we get tapped on the shoulder by something massive.
Yes.
This stroke was a massive tap on the shoulder.
My word, it was.
And the silly thing was the first stroke, Ade didn't have any side effects. So I guess, neither him or I really took it that seriously. We didn't realise that stroke was a leading cause of disability, and we didn't realise that people became paralysed or it affected their eyesight or.
Because clearly whatever forces were at work said to you, well, okay, you're not listening. I'm going to make sure you listen.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've just heard Ade chatting to you, and he's sitting here and he is who he is, which is someone with a great sense of humour and who likes to muck around. But he should not be talking to us. He shouldn't be able to be doing this. That stroke you had was massive.
And I was not expected to survive brain surgery.
No. You had, there's a great photo of you with just no skull, a picture with it written on the tape. There's no bone in the head.
Yes. It opens itself up for a lot of double entendre jokes.
Yes.
But it's essentially my head looked like it had been hit by a swing golf club and a big dent, and I had to wear this helmet which I affectionately called my Jason Dunstall Memorial helmet.
Thank you.
And I had to wear that for months and months to come.
6 months before they put the skull bone back in. Mm.
And I said, where's my skull bone? And they said, in deep freeze. And I just said, what with all the cornettos?
Yeah, that's right. Down the bottom there.
Yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't go all frosty. Ade's had, as you can hear just in that little story, an amazing recovery. And so much so that I wonder how. You know what? I don't wonder how. I think, as an outsider, that it's two things. It's your will, your strength, your will to just go, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to make the next thing the challenge. You write in the book about your very busy day. And it's the person next to you. I know that you would agree that you wouldn't get through this without the love and care of your partner.
Oh, my darling wife, Kate, as I like to say, she's my best friend, my closest confidant, and she's my rock as well as she rocks my world.
Hmm. In so many ways, Kate, it takes a strain on carers. While we're talking about Stroke Day tomorrow, we should talk for a moment about the strain on carers. I mean, you reorganised your life. You lived at the hospital. You taped your wrist to his wrist because he had one arm that worked, and of course, being 80, he was using that one arm that works to pull out the damn tube that's keeping him alive down his throat. So you'd take your wrist to his wrist. So you'd wake up if he moved it. You'd be right there, and you slept in a chair, and that was life.
Yeah, I just felt that with everything Ade had been through, I didn't want him to have to be tied up to the bed and then wake up and, find that he was just, couldn't talk and was tied up. So I wanted to be there with him and help him through that time. And, it's been really tough, but I feel really blessed because Ade is such a positive person, and I'm very lucky because we have a very loving, fantastic relationship that a lot of people search for their whole life, you know. But definitely, I also believe that extreme circumstances call for extreme actions. So I have put, a lot of things on hold, but I also feel now that this has happened that Ade and I have a really important message of prevention to get out there. But, also we want people just to, laugh a little bit more and because apparently there's a new study that's just come out that says that the risk of stroke is increased by 86% if you're stressed. And so therefore humour has a huge part to play. So if people can learn how to handle their stress, and Ade always says it's not what happens to you, it's not the situation, it's how you handle it.
Yes.
People can learn to handle it.
Regardless of our situation, it is how we choose to respond. That says everything about us, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely true, that the things will always happen. Judith Durham was just chatting about this, and I don't know if you heard her chatting. She's an incredibly positive person too, who just says, yep, this is it, and some days I have better days than others, but I'm getting on, and this is this is the hand of cards, and I'm going to use it this way.
But, it's the extreme situations that really amplify who we are.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't create us, it just reveals us, doesn't it?
Indeed.
It revealed both of you. One thing, just before we leave the carers thing, and because it is, after all about Ade, and he'll get upset if we don't swing that back.
As long as we both agree on that.
That's right. But, Katie, before we leave, I've got to say it is traumatic for a carer, and you need to take care of the carer as well. You can, I think afterwards you can still be in that. I've got friends who had kids through NICU, and there's for a long time they had that kind of still in adrenaline-fueled trauma mode about them.
I've found that with myself that, if Ade would move in bed, I wake up.
Yeah.
It's getting better and better. I mean, it's been 3.5 years.
And wake up on alarm. So
on
here
alarm.
We go. We're on. What's happening?
Or even if I go to a different room in the house and I hear Ade move, I always yell out, Ade, you okay?
Yep.
So I've actually just done a transcendental meditation course, and that has been good. I've found meditation has been helping me a lot.
It's now a very important part of our lives. Meditation is extremely important now, which is why I'm so calm and relaxed.
That's right. Back him off. Easy. Give me his tablets. The Little Book of Hope is what I'm holding. When did you write this, Ade?
Well, over the course of towards the end of my tenure in hospital, and now, to about a year ago, was it, Kate? About 2012? Because when I came out of hospital, I really wanted to be able to help other stroke survivors or people who have suffered what I have been through. And I wanted to speak to the National Stroke Foundation to volunteer for them to help others. And it was a great process unveiled from there on. Interestingly, and please again, I thank and applaud people who are patient with my speaking because it has been a very difficult time, but I'm now coping okay. But when I first tried to speak and give suggestions of how to help people with the emotional side of this condition, I don't know, you may remember, but do you remember the old Charlie Brown cartoons? When we still have I was a cross between that and trying to hold a conversation with Labrador. Wah, 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 ho, ho, ho.
In your head, could you hear the words, but coming out was something different, or how did the wiring work?
Oh,
could you hear the words when you were trying to make them?
But what was recorded didn't quite communicate very well.
So Ade used to rehearse what he would say to others, and because he knew that he had to improve his speech to be able to talk to people, and I would record it on the iPhone, and that's when people started saying you should write a book. So it wasn't initially a book; it was just Ade wanting to rehearse what he would say to people.
But it's great, it is a little book. So you flip through it and you go, okay, I'm at the end. Wait, I'll go back again, and each of the chapters had little tools, little things you can practice. Do they work? Like, do you practice? Do you bookend the day with the things you're grateful for?
Gratitude, yes. Gratitude is a big part and the easiest and quickest state changer.
Gratitude is the easiest and quickest state changer you can do.
Yes, and it's like it reminded me of that famous Jewish proverb of, "I used to feel sorry for myself because I had no shoes until I met a man who had no feet."
Yeah.
Okay, so you like to think to yourself that there's always someone worse, no matter what our
Yes, and
circumstance.
there's always something you feel grateful for.
Is it hard to make that real each day, as opposed to I'll do the same from yesterday?
Well, it's not always easy, but it is. I have a naturally yes. It became a disciplined habit.
Yeah, interesting.
You'll know about the benefits of discipline and training.
Yeah, but a lot of your tools are kind of fake it till you make it things. They're things that you make habits until you are feeling that way, until you are conscious of it. That works for you?
Yes, it does.
Yep.
And as has worked for many others who have been thankfully very appreciative and positive in their feedback.
I think I've spoken to everyone. I know you've read The Brain That Changes Itself. Norman Doidge has been in that chair where you are right now, and our ability for the brain to accept the change, if we just keep on, we smile, we feel happy. If we frown all the time, we tend to feel sad. Those simplistic things, we can fake it till we make it. Yeah. I was talking to Judith Durham about how confronting rehab is and how you get to...
So did she have a condition, did she?
Yeah, she had a brain hemorrhage.
Oh, really?
And
poor thing.
Nothing like yours. So I wanted to ask you, Ade...
It's not a competition, Richard. It's not a competition.
Someone's going to win, mate. There's always a winner. Yeah. And you're the winner. I just want to say that.
Thank
you. What did you learn in rehab? What did rehab teach you?
Well, other than to sit upright, breathe independently again. And,
all those things that they were trying to teach you. Well, what else did it teach you?
Taught me to that remaining positive and happy is an action more than just a state. Meaning that you have to do it.
And again, we come back to that thing of practice, don't we?
Well, yes, we all learn by doing, as I always say.
Yeah.
And practicing is part of it's got to come with like remember you were pretending when you were kids.
Yep.
To pretend as hard as you can. Pretend as hard as you can. That's really real.
You talk about that with making goals. You've got to feel it in your DNA. You've got to pretend it. You've got to taste it. You've got to really
because where the mind goes, the body will eventually follow. Eventually.
Mm.
That's another way of teaching me to be patient.
Let's pause. There's another leg to this chair. There's your will and your ability. There's the love that you both share and your friendship and good humour, which is the other huge strength to it. Katie's ability as a carer, because not people can love each other but not be good carers, and so that's a skill in itself.
Yes.
There's someone we're not mentioning here. There's a medical team that were probably okay. You must have had good surgeons around you. You must have had a great medical team.
Yes. I had a great surgeon, Professor Wang, and I joked with him afterwards because I said, to qualify to do what you do, did you do the weekend TAFE course or the full 4-week course? He played along and said, actually, I did the online course.
Did the online? Yeah, that's nice.
Oh, he's been fantastic. Professor Peter Wang at the Alfred Hospital. And we actually recently went in and spoke to the neurosurgery support group. And
or as I typically called it, the Brain Damage Club.
No, only you can say that, Ade.
What was he saying about it? What made him fantastic? I mean, obviously he's got skill, knowledge, an enormous knowledge and skill that translates through his hands. Because he
also has a great bedside manner too.
Bit unusual for surgeons.
He's very good, and he's been astounded at Ade's recovery, and he's just said, whatever you guys are doing, I don't know what you just got to keep doing it because it's amazing, And
I've got to give you an idea what it's like. Ade and Kate are positive and they're working on things and they've got the little book of hope and they're speaking to us and there's stuff, but there's just day-to-day stuff. Ade, how much mobility have you got? Let's explain to people.
Well, my hemiplegia, which is the left side of my body, was the affected side, if you will. I can move my left leg and I can do some walking with my Tracy 4.6 on my right side, and Kate, when she's able, I'm on my left. I can't.
You can't get out of bed by yourself.
No.
Or go to the toilet by yourself.
So toileting, showering, out of bed,
all of that.
all needs
Dressing.
assistance.
Yeah, yes.
Cutting food.
Yes.
There's a humility in that, isn't there?
Oh.
You write about it.
Yes.
For the both of you, actually, you wrote about it in the book about when people were dropping in presents of food, and you just had to learn to accept.
Yes, be gracious and grateful in our acceptance as we do in our giving.
That's hard, I think.
It was very much outside my comfort zone, and it's very much stretched me as a human being.
Let's talk a little bit about that, Ade, because there'll be people listening who are in the same position. Their partner is now their carer, and they've got to give up that sense of independence about going to the toilet and cleaning up after themselves or being in a shower. These basic human things that have to happen.
Yes.
How do you come to terms with that? Help people come to terms with that, I guess I'm asking.
Well, if you will, surrendered myself to my situation, saying, "This is where I am. This is where I'm at the moment. It's not who I am, but this is where I'm at."
Yep.
And that's why I need your help with this, that, and the other, and just little, cheeky little fun things keep us going.
Yeah, I know you've got games.
Yeah, little games.
Kate's got a measure and scale.
Yes.
In my mind, I see a whiteboard and a series of stars. I know it's not all about winning. You've told me that, but I still. Yeah, Ade, that's a powerful word, surrender. And you wouldn't think in your story that surrender was a part of it. You would have thought it's all about the fight. But you surrender yourself to the gratitude of others, the giving of others, and you surrender yourself to people's care, don't you?
In a humble, holistic, and honest way, yes.
Not easy to do, and
No.
none of this is easy.
Because in my life, I have never been. I've always been more comfortable giving than taking.
Yeah.
But there are times we have to learn to accept as we have to give.
You guys went overseas. I couldn't believe you. And, oh, my God, you picked somewhere steamy to go. I'm not sure that was the great idea. You went to Bali.
Yes.
What was the reason to go to Bali in particular?
Well, we went to the Jack Canfield retreat. You may remember Jack Canfield from Chicken Soup for the Soul book series.
Okay, yep.
And he also did a very kind and loving video testimonial.
He did, yeah.
And a forward book.
Yep.
And also on the subject of steamy, Kate and I recently came back from India, where
I didn't realise that.
I went to an Ayurvedic hospital for some Ayurvedic treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Where they laminate you in oil, and you just think, oh, toss me in the salad already. What's going on?
So far, so good.
Yes. And I conquered my biggest preconceived, mistake of fear they had of going to a public toilet in India. And I went to a public toilet at the airport in...
It was very good.
Yeah, it was excellent. In Kochi
good disabled facilities.
In Kerala.
It's fantastic. I just talk about this because I think it'll help people who are facing this journey. As we said, it's the second largest killer after heart disease. It's the major source of disability. It's the leading cause of disability in Australia. Tomorrow is World Stroke Day. It affects so many lives. What do you want to say to all of those people, Katie? What do you want to say to everyone listening about tomorrow's Stroke Day?
I'd just say, don't take your health for granted. And Ade's stroke was, the physical cause of his stroke was high blood pressure, but there was a cause for the high blood pressure, which was the stress and the smoking and the lifestyle. Because when Ade did have a good lifestyle and lost weight, his blood pressure was fine without medication. So there was a cause for the blood pressure. So I guess what I'm saying is look after yourself. Ade has this thing where he says, get your big rocks in first. And he uses that analogy of the bottle where if you've got some rocks, some pebbles, some sand, some water, if you put the big rocks in first, then you can fit more and you can put the pebbles, you can put the sand, you can put the water in. But if you try and do it the other way around, it won't all fit. So Ade always says, get your big rocks in first. So even, we were up really early this morning, but he still does his meditation, he still does his exercise, even if it's only 10 minutes. So I think it's just prioritising your health.
Yeah,
It's
it's
really
And
important.
it's the idea of fill your day with important things before they become filled by unimportant things.
My dad, he's useless at lots of stuff. He did have some good sayings, though. He taught me a thing he loved and he used to always pass on. Never let the urgent things get in the way of the important things.
Yeah.
So
love
stuff
that.
can be really urgent. Quick. But
Yep.
there's some important stuff that maybe isn't tugging your coat, but it's got to be dealt with. Get the important stuff done.
So true. Yeah.
And in Ade's life, really, everything in your career was urgent because it's media, right? It's
Yeah.
TV. Everything's urgent. It's got to happen now.
Yesterday.
but health, it's important, but it's not yelling at you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And especially if you're young, you're thinking, nothing will happen to me yet.
Later, bulletproof it all.
And procrastinate, I used to procrastinate a lot, but then I never got around to it.
Thank you. That's gold. A little book of hope is the thing you need to have in your hand. The Little Book of Hope, as you can hear, it's got Ade's and Kate's humour throughout it. It's also got these tools, these things you can just take away. Santos Chalaro's written about it, and he said, yeah, don't put it on the shelf, just keep it by the bed, pick it up at random, dip into it. And I think that's a great way to talk about it. Well, where do we get the book?
You can just go on to littlebookofhope.com and you can order it there. There's a link to order. And also on that website, littlebookofhope.com, you can also download a free poster which has all the tools on it as well.
Nice. Good job. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in to chatting to us. Ade, great to see you.
Our absolute pleasure, sir.
Thank you so much. Ade was thrilled to see you because he's always loved listening to you. So
that's
thank you.
We go back to the XYZ days.
That's quality. I knew there was something nice about you. I could just tell. Guys, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. 774 ABC Melbourne, ABC Victoria.